Okay, this press conference is being called regards to the homicide investigation that occurred yesterday. Again, I identified our victim as Denise Williams. She was 54 years of age from the Hornerstown section of Johnstown. She worked in the nursing field and was employed at Conemaugh Hospital here in Johnstown. She was found in this apartment at 206 Old Scalp Avenue in Geistown Borough. An autopsy was performed yesterday which confirmed that she passed away from massive blood loss to her body due to multiple stab wounds, some which were lethal in nature. She did put up one heck of a fight. This was a violent death that she sustained. And again, I'm going to start off by saying that the cooperation between my office, the Geistown Borough Police Chief, and the Cambry County District Attorney was outstanding. And I'm going to turn it over to the District Attorney, Greg Niebauer, for a couple comments. But first, do you have any questions for me at this point regarding cause, manner of death, or the victim?
Real quick question. We had heard from family yesterday, like you said, that she put up an incredible fight. Can you describe that more than you already did by chance? In what mannerism did she fight?
Well, again, the autopsy and external examination revealed that she did have what we call defensive wounds, and showed that she put up one hell of a fight, to be honest.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Any other questions before I turn it over to Greg?
Can you specify how many stab wounds?
No, I'm not. Again, that will come out later in court proceedings.
I have one more quick question, and I'm probably going to ask both of y'all the same question. Typically in homicides that involve a female attacker, they typically use knives. Males typically use firearms. In this case, a male used a knife. Is this something that you see as odd?
In 20-some years in being in the office, we've had a multitude of different cases where stabbing with a knife has occurred.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Greg, I'm going to leave that up.
Sure.
Thank you, Coroner Lees. By way of an announcement, charges were filed last evening against Joshua M. Gorgon, Gorgone, including a count of criminal homicide and 2 felony counts of aggravated assault. The final charges are subject to amendment, obviously, as the investigation progresses. The investigation is still ongoing as we piece together a more definitive timeline, as we piece together certain other pieces of information, including some digital information that we are going to be subpoenaing, etc. But he is, the defendant is currently, I believe, still awaiting arraignment. I don't know if the arraignment happened overnight, but with the charge, he would not be entitled to bail, so he would be lodged in the Cambry County Prison during the pendency of these charges. So there's no further risk to the public as of his arrest yesterday. One of the things I would like to touch base on is I would like to not only thank Geistown Borough, Johnstown Police Department, the Cambry County detectives who are the charging entity and the lead investigators, Pennsylvania State Police, their R&I department out of Greensburg came to assist, Richland Township provided assistance, and this is a great, another great example of the cooperation between separate law enforcement entities and the coroner's office in this county. People need to realize and recognize the amount of cooperation that benefits the community at large for the entire county and the surrounding counties for that matter. The other thing I would like to touch base on is to thank the family of the victim. They really demonstrated an awareness for the victim. Something was out of place. She didn't contact them. She didn't communicate with them. That was odd. They contacted police, and they themselves were very aggressive in trying to find their loved one. With their help, they provided a crucial piece of information that allowed us to find the victim when we found her and to know where to look. So the family deserves a lot of credit. I know they're going through an unimaginable time, but they deserve the thanks of law enforcement, the coroner's office. They deserve all of our thanks. They really significantly helped law enforcement. Of their efforts. Does anyone have any questions?
You mentioned a crucial piece of information. What can you say about that?
Information from a Facebook account.
Can you detail how she ended up at this location?
So based on our investigation thus far, she went there to look at a refrigerator that she found on Facebook Marketplace. Some information from the family was she was looking to purchase the fridge for her boyfriend, actually, as a present. She went there to look at the fridge and never came out, unfortunately. So along those lines, sort of by way of a general public announcement, use caution when you're dealing with anybody or anything involving purchasing something through the internet, meeting up with someone. Don't go alone. Don't invite someone to your house alone to look at something. Always have someone with you, or if possible, meet in a public, well-lit place.
So I think the obvious question is, what is the motivation? Did this guy, this suspect, Josh, lure her to rob her, kill her? What was the motivation?
At this point, we're not going to speculate on whether it was alluring per se, or if something went awry. At this point, we're not going to speculate on that. As our investigation continues, I think we'll get a better feel for what exactly occurred within that apartment.
Are there going to be additional charges filed, since it kind of seemed like he fled the scene and there's a whole search for him? Are there going to be additional charges for that?
There may be additional charges. Again, yesterday the importance was to get the homicide charge filed, frankly, to be able to lodge him and detain him and keep him in custody to ensure the safety of the public. And as we continue the investigation, get more information, we'll take a look at the charges and make final charging decisions on that.
Does Josh have a criminal history? Are you familiar with him?
I'm not going to go into any type of criminal history he may or may not have. That will all come out down the line, and at this point, respectfully, I don't think that's frank very relevant to the issue at hand today.
Okay.
I mean, this happened in Geistown Borough, which is pretty residential. These kinds of things don't happen there. I mean, what is your message to residents? I know a lot of people were very shocked to hear of this kind of brutal crime happening.
You want to take that, Chief?
I'll take that.
All right.
Yes, Geistown Borough is a really great place to live and quiet residential. This is something odd that we deal with. We're not one of the larger cities, and the misconception is that if you live in a small town or a small city, you don't have the crime as the big cities. We all have the same crimes. It's just not in the volume because we don't have the population. It can happen anywhere. Geistown it's like a family. And when you lose someone like this, when you have incidents of this nature, it's a shock to us all. The residents in Geistown are safe. This incident was unfortunate. It was a tough scene. It was a tough call for myself and my officers. District Attorney Niebauer, mentioned about the cooperation between all the departments. Without this cooperation with these departments, especially with the limited resources that law enforcement has, especially in the small communities, we would not be able to handle these cases. We would not be able to make the arrests and solve these cases as quickly. Purchasing things online and meeting someone at someone's house. It's never a good idea. Public place, meet with, with more. Be on the lookout. And we found him very rapidly. He's under arrest, and I truly believe that the residents of Geistown are more secure because of it.
Chief, if you don't mind me asking a question.
Sure.
I know I just met you yesterday for the first time, but you're an intimidating person by stature.
Okay.
And as this is going on, if I'm reading you correctly, I can see the pain in your eyes.
Oh.
This is tough.
It is.
I mean, this is a woman who helped people. She worked
Exactly.
in a hospital.
It's tough. So, any other questions?
I have an additional question for whoever can answer this, but I know speaking with family members, Denise Williams was related to Bobby Williams, who was murdered back 2013, I think. I mean, is that just a horrible coincidence that this family is dealing with two tragic murders, or
Greg.
are we, are there any lines that are trying to be drawn?
Sure. At this point, I think the way I would characterize it is just a horrible, gut-wrenching coincidence that just adds a level of pain to the family that is unimaginable.
Greg, of course, you mentioned the fact that this was, she was gone there about a refrigerator. Is there any indication that she knew the person she was buying this off of? Or thought she was?
The family's belief, and it is also our belief, is that they did not have any type of a prior relationship. Now, obviously, as we dive a little deeper into some things that could change, but at this point, we do not believe that they had any type of prior dealings with each other, that this was really I'm interested in buying a refrigerator that's listed for sale. Nothing more than that.
Was there a refrigerator in the apartment?
There was, yes.
Was it for sale, or was it just part of the apartment? Or, you know what I mean?
Well, according to the Facebook Marketplace post, it was for sale.
I was having a little battery issue, and you may have already touched on this. Is there a safe zone in Cambria County or Geistown that people can go to do these types of things?
No, I think this is. No, there is not at this time. I know of other areas that do have these things, and it might not be. In fact, I think it's a great idea that maybe we can get something like this started. Unfortunately, an incident like this has to happen sometimes for us to realize what we need to do.
The weapon involved, what can you say about the weapon, and was it recovered, the knife?
We recovered knives from the scene.
Were multiple weapons used?
I'm not going to speculate on that quite yet.
Anything else?
Have you gone through any computer history? Has you tried this before?
We, The only computer history at this point that we have information on is what was provided by the family. There have been preservation requests put in, and there will be subpoenas issued for some of that information. So relative to, I assume you're asking more about the defendant's computer history. We do not have much of that at this point. The process to get that information is underway, and it takes some time. It takes some time.
The knife, a pocket knife, steak knife, what kind of knives were seized? Or believed to be used?
I'm not going to touch on that quite yet. There'll be more details on that as the investigation continues.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.